The beautiful rolling plains of France easily mask the horrors that occurred upon them more than a century ago. It was here in the region of Verdun the longest single battle of World War I took place. This area was one of the bloodiest front lines and is now home to the thousands of bodies that fell here. The 10-month battle for Verdun started here on February the 21st, 1916, with a German offensive on French soldiers sheltered in the area. For 9 hours, German artillery long-ranged cannons rained down on the Frenchmen, destroying everything and creating these craters. By 4 p.m. that day, only 450 of the 1,300 infantrymen stationed here were left standing. A few kilometers south, the battle for St. Mihiel took place. Today, an American cemetery marks the area.
So basically, the concept of the cemetery, after the war, we put cemeteries in the middle of the battlefields to remember the significant events.
More than 4,000 Americans who died in the war are buried here. Meanwhile, in Paris, scores of world leaders gathered for a somber ceremony to mark the end of the conflict.
During these 4 years, Europe almost committed suicide. Humanity sunk into the hideous labyrinth of merciless clashes, into a hell that engulfed all combatants, on whichever side, whatever nationality they were.
100 years later, and those divisions of the past are gone, but some wonder whether new ones have resurfaced. In the French capital, Russian President Vladimir Putin met with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu for the first time since Moscow blamed Israel for the shooting down of a Russian surveillance plane in Syria in September. Putin also expressed hopes of resuming talks with the U.S. about the Intermediate-Range Nuclear Forces Treaty after President Trump accused Russia of violating it. The two leaders are expected to hold talks on the sidelines of the G20 summit in Argentina later this month. Back at St. Mihiel Cemetery, flags represent the soldiers that fell on the last day of the war.
These aren't just crosses. These are people. They had a life. They had left behind children.
And some of those children are still alive today, determined to never forget. Natalie Carney, CGTN, in Verdun, France.